Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Happy 2026. As it's the start of the new year, I thought I share with you an app I built as part of my New Year resolution. So I'm learning a new language, German, as I'm currently reallocating into Europe. And I thought, given all these great progress on generative AI, large language model, why don't I just build an app on my own, which I can use for my own purposes? Okay, so what you're seeing here is a simple UI on the chatbot where I can talk to the large language model, obviously, and then have a real person-like conversation in German. So without further ado, let me first demo, and then we will run into some of the detail, and then hopefully you can set this up if you wish to try it out on yourself on your own laptop as well. Okay, so I will start off with a greeting to the language tutor. I would say good morning in German. Hopefully it pick up the right word. Good Morgen. Okay, let's see how it handle the voice to text. So now we're processing. Okay, so that's pretty good. So once we have this, we'll click enter. So this message get passed down to the large language model for a
Guten
response.
Morgen. Wie geht es dir heute? Möchtest du über etwas Bestimmtes sprechen oder einfach ein Gespräch üben?
All right. So he basically is asking me, how are you doing today? Would you like to, what would you like to talk about? And then, and this certain words which I don't know. So as part of the functionality, I asked him the app to basically list out all the words. So for the words, I know the meaning. I already have some translation, like heute means today, möchtest means would like, etc. But there will be also words which I don't know. So this is where I can put in my German words, put in my translation English. Then this will get reflected in the new list of vocabulary I learned from the conversation. Okay, so in terms of functionality, it's quite simple. And also, it does understand the contextual difference between English and German. For example, I could say, I would like to talk about maybe ski. Then let's see what it come back with.
Skifahren, das ist ein tolles Thema. Fährst du gerne Ski oder möchtest du vielleicht damit anfangen?
See, now it came back with a German response as well as an English translation. So in this way, I will be able to pick up the language in both German and English setting, which in my opinion is quite useful. The behavior you're seeing here is basically driven by the context message, which I laid out in my code, currently hard-coded, but in future due course, I can change the functionality a bit more to make it more user friendly. But that's for another video if everyone's interested in seeing how I developed this app further. Okay, now let's dive into the code aspect of things. So I use PyCharm, but you can use whatever the editor you have. So basically, this is a simple app. Only have main.py one file. Okay, so I won't drill down to detail on how this whole code line by line, because I think the code itself is quite explanatory. For everyone have a bit of a background in development, it should be able to pick it up with ease. The bits which I like to quickly go through with you guys is the cloud documentation, which I used. So basically, I used the cloud code to basically write up this documentation for me. I think he did a fantastic job. Uh, so basically, it tells me what is this project all about. Yeah. So I think it summarized quite nicely with the API I used, the model I used, and then the structure of this particular project is very simple. It's just the Mendel Pi, okay? And then it tells you, what things you need to set up where. So basically, it basically tells you you need to set up two keys, API keys. Once you get them in the .env file, it's a very simple file. It's a text file which you put in your API keys once you purchase some credit. And then summarize the key functionalities which in this app and what do they do. Okay, so as I demoed, it's basically the chatbot on the top. We handle the conversation. There's some function which translate text to audio. There's some function doing, audio to text, vice versa. Okay, and then it also mentioned what do we use the UI framework. We use Gradio. By the way, the reason I use Gradio is because it's just too simple. With like 10 lines of code maximum, you can cook up this app relatively quickly. So it's just another level compared to the other framework you probably know, like React and Vue. But by no means, I think if you want something done as a professional, probably still have to stick with the popular framework like those I just mentioned. I think Gradio is just great in the sense that you can do your MVP products demo quite quickly to test out your ideas quite quickly. Okay. And then you have the other things mentioned down here, which you could take a look. Okay. And then let's look at the code a bit. I think a few things I need to mention if you want to try this out on your own laptop. So basically, at the beginning of the code, that's where I set up the keys, where I get the key from the .env file. I set up the URL for the API. If you decide to use the API other than DeepSeek, you have to update the URL here as well. And then the model ID, if you want to use something different, then you have to specify it. So this is something which currently I manually hard coded in my app, but it's very easy for you to change if you wish to. Okay. And then also another thing which I mentioned earlier about the context message, it's here. All right. So basically, this is exactly why you are seeing the behavior of the app I just demonstrated early on, because I specifically set the context to say you're a German tutor want to practice German conversation with me, but also understand English. Okay. So in case the learner asks question in English, you translate it first, then reply in German. Okay, so that's what the behavior you are observing from the chatbot we just had. All right, I think that's pretty much all the things you need for you to get this customization done to run it on your own. And for any other functionality like the vocabulary capability, this is all done by Cloud. I may put up another video on Cloud Code experience, but I think for this video, we're just going to stick with this language app. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully you find this useful, and I'll see you next time.